Welcome back, children. Now in this video number 3, I am going to take the remaining phyla coming under non-chordates, namely phylum Arthropoda, phylum Mollusca, phylum AquinoDermata and phylum Hemichordata. So let's start with phylum Arthropoda. This phylum is the largest phylum in the animal kingdom. It includes prawns, lobsters, crabs, all insects, centipedes, millipedes, etc. So it's dominating because it's the largest phylum in the animal kingdom. Now, as I told you, the first point should be the distinct feature. The distinct feature, and hence it's getting the name Arthropoda because it has jointed appendages. So it gets the name Arthropoda, jointed appendages, and also it is covered with a chitinous exoskeleton. So that's the distinct feature. Which is mentioned in one video, all the distinct features. The second is the fundamental features. Again, you have to refer video number 1 to get all the fundamental features. Anyway, some fundamental features we can get from the picture is the symmetry. What is the symmetry? The symmetry is bilateral symmetry, and also the level of organization is the highest advanced level of organization called the organ system level of organization. And all the other characteristics of the fundamental features should be gathered from the video number 1 from the flow chart. Now the remaining I am going to emphasize is what is special to arthropods. Okay, besides the distinct feature, the body is divided into 3 parts. They are head, thorax and abdomen. And this head bears the mouth parts which are specialized for its mode of life. It can be biting mouth part, sucking mouth part, cutting mouth part, or different types of mouth parts. We know about cockroach, what type of mouth part it has. It has a cutting and biting. We know about the certain insects like the bees and those that suck nectar, the sucking mouth parts. So the mouth parts are modified based on the diet. Also, the specialty, they bear antenna, sensitive antennae to sense chemicals in the surroundings. You are very familiar, the cockroach with large antenna. Then the specialty with the eye, they have the compound eye. So the specialty of the eye is not like our eye. Our eye is actually a bilocular with a very simple eye, but theirs is compound eye. We cannot easily catch them because the vision is mosaic vision. The compound eye facilitates mosaic vision. They can see the predator from all direction. Okay. And lastly, they have some sense organs. That is, the balancing organs called statocyst, which helps them to balance. They can fly from one place to the other and without losing their balance. So these organs are called the statocyst. So that's a speciality with this particular phylum. Okay, the head has the mouth parts which are modified to its diet, sucking or biting mouth parts, whatever it may be. Then the antenna to sense chemicals and hence sense danger. Then compound eyes which facilitates mosaic vision. Then statocysts are the balancing organs. Then I told you there is a thorax as well as the abdomen. Then as I told you, from the fundamental feature, which level of organization they show the organ system level, the most advanced system. Organ system level of organization. Level of organization is the organ system. So let's analyze the different systems. So starting I am giving the abbreviation D, digestive system. What type of digestive system they have? They have a complete digestive system. And we know what is a complete digestive system. It has the mouth, 2 openings, mouth and the anus. Then excretion is by Malpighian tubules. Circulation, they have the open circulatory system. Then respiration is by gills or book gills or book lungs or you have learnt in lower class trachea, the tracheal system. And lastly, reproduction, it shows internal fertilization. So I told you if it's internal fertilization, what should be the development? The development should be indirect development. If it's internal fertilization, it should show direct development, but here it shows internal fertilization with indirect development. Clear? So once again, a recap of phylum Arthropoda. As I told you, it's the largest phylum among the animal kingdom, which includes a number of species, and the distinct feature is that they have the jointed appendages, and hence the name Arthropoda, and it's covered with a chitinous exoskeleton. Then the body is divided into head, thorax and the abdomen. The head has the mouth parts which are modified for its mode of living. There is the antenna to sense danger. There is a compound eyes to facilitate mosaic vision, and there is a statocyst which is the balancing organ. Then the other parts are the thorax and the abdomen. Then they show the highest level of organization called the organ system level, and so we are analyzing the different system. The digestive system is complete with two openings, mouth and the anus. Then excretory system is the Malpighian tubule. Circulatory system, it's opened. Respiration is either, there are different options, gills or gill books, book gills or book lungs, or the tracheal system. In most of the forms is the trachea. And lastly, the fertilization is internal. But though it's internal, the fertilization, the development is indirect. And last of all, they are unisexual forms. Unisexual forms means their sexes are separate. Okay, there are two different beings, male and female. They are not bisexual. Clear? So this is phylum Arthropoda. Next, phylum Mollusca. Phylum Mollusca is the second largest phylum in the animal kingdom. It includes slugs, cuttlefish, oysters, squid, mussels, snail, clams, octopus, etc. Okay, the second largest phylum of the animal kingdom. And the distinct feature, as I told you, we have to mention first the distinct feature. They are unsegmented. The body is unsegmented, usually covered with a calcareous shell. Okay, this is the distinct feature of most of the molluscans, but you can see slug without, but most of the representatives, all of them are unsegmented, and most of them are covered with a calcareous shell. Okay, that's a distinct feature. Now talking about the body, I told you the body is unsegmented, but you can see three regions. The three regions are the head, foot, which is muscular, specify it is muscular. You must have seen the foot of snail, and the visceral hump, which is eaten. You must have eaten mussels where the visceral hump is eaten. Okay. Now talking about the head. The head bears the tentacles. You have seen snails and all with tentacles. Then it has the eyes, and also it has the mouth, which has a rasp-like organ to engulf food. Okay, that file-like rasping organ is called radula. Okay, to scoop the food, it's like a spoon-like structure, violet in color, it is in the mouth region, so it comes out like the tongue to scoop the food. So that organ is known as a radula. Okay. So talking about the head is studded with the tentacles. Definitely there's the eye and the mouth. The mouth has a rasping organ, and that rasping organ is called the radula. Clear? And only the foot we can see outside the shell. It is white and very slimy. Now talking about the visceral hump. I am just showing you with a depiction of this book. Let this be a bivalve. Bivalve like the mussels having two shells. Okay, so let this be one shell and this be the other shell. Okay, now this is the center. I have folded this. Let this be the visceral hump, the fleshy hump. Okay, so this is the visceral hump. Now the two valves cover the visceral hump. Okay, but immediately after the shell there is a soft spongy skin. See, so this paper taken soft spongy skin, here also soft spongy skin. So you can see when you open the shell, like say if I am opening the shell, after the shell you can see a layer of soft and spongy skin, on both the sides, and this is enclosing the visceral hump. So, I am putting it back like this way. See, you can see the visceral hump here, and this space, this spongy white skin is called the mantle. So, what is this? The shell, calcareous shell. Okay, this hard bind, let it be the calcareous shell. This will be the soft, spongy, white skin. This is called the mantle. That way, there are two mantles, and these two mantles merge like this way. Okay, and enclosing this is the visceral hump, the flesh. Now, this gap, see, there's a gap now. This gap is called the mantle cavity. See, this gap is called the mantle cavity, and in this gap, there's a feather-like organ called the gills. So, once again, there's a shell. Immediately when we remove the shell, there's a soft white spongy skin. What is that called? Mantle. And this mantle encloses the hump, visceral hump. Now, there's a gap between this mantle and the hump. This gap is called the mantle cavity. And this mantle cavity, what is located? The gills. And this gills, the function of the gills, as you know, respiration as well as excretion. Now, they have the level of organization is the organ system. So, let's check all the systems. Digestive system is complete. Excretion, as I mentioned, it's by the gills. Circulation is open. Respiration is again done by the gills. So, the gills does both the function, excretion and respiration. And reproduction, fertilization is external fertilization. I told you, when it's external fertilization, what should be the development? Definitely it is indirect development. Clear? So, analyzing the different organs, because they are having this level of organization as an organ system. The digestive system is complete. What do we mean? There are two holes, mouth and the anus. Excretion and respiration is done by the gills. Then circulatory system is open, and lastly reproduction, external fertilization, and hence definitely what comes with external fertilization, development is indirect. Here also remember, these are also unisexual forms. So, I hope you have understood. Phylum Mollusca. The second largest phylum is Phylum Mollusca. The distinct feature is unsegmented, covered with calcareous exoskeleton, and the body has three parts: the head, foot, which is muscular, and the visceral hump. Above the head, it bears the tentacles, and the mouth with a rasping-like organ called the radula, and it's also having the eyes. Then talking about the visceral hump, there's a shell. When you open the shell, there's a soft skin called the mantle, and the mantle encloses the hump. There's a space between the mantle and the hump that is called the mantle cavity. In this cavity lies the feather-like structure called the gills. Now, it shows the level of organization as the highest level, that is organ system. So, analyzing the different systems: digestive, excretory, circulatory, respiratory and reproductive system. Digestive system complete. Excretion is done by the gills, circulation is open, again the respiration is done by the gills, and reproduction, external fertilization, EC, what is the development? Indirect development, and they are unisexual, not bisexual. Sexes are separate. Next is phylum AquinoDermata, and as we know, why it gets the name AquinoDermata, which means spiny bodied. How it has become spiny bodied? Because of the calcareous ossicles. So, the exoskeleton is made up of this calcareous ossicles, giving a spiny appearance, and hence it is getting the name AquinoDermata, and hence this forms a distinct feature. Not only that, it has a water vascular system, which is special to this particular phylum, the water vascular system. Okay. Now, fundamental features, definitely you can get many fundamental features. The symmetry, it shows radial symmetry, okay, and all the other fundamental features get it from the flow chart. Now, talking about the body, there are two surfaces. If I take this as a starfish, there are two surfaces: lower surface called the ventral surface, and the upper surface called the dorsal surface. So, two surfaces, lower and upper. So, body has two surfaces: lower surface, which is called ventral surface, and upper surface, which is called dorsal surface. Now, what is present in the lower surface? The lower surface, the mouth is present, and on the upper surface, the anus is present. So, showing on this diagram, this is showing the view. This is the lower surface shown, and this is showing the upper surface. Clear? Now, the lower surface, I am going to highlight the mouth on the lower surface. See, here is the mouth. The mouth is located here, and you can see radiating from the mouth there are grooves, and these grooves are going to the 5 arms. See, grooves are going to the 5 arms, and these grooves are lined by small structures called tube feet. So, there are many tube feet. I show the diagram of tube feet like this. You can see a number of tube feet lining the grooves, and these tube feet are constantly in motion. They are constantly beating in one direction, the direction towards the mouth. So, the tube feet are all moving in one direction, directing the water with the food towards the mouth. So, definitely when you lift a starfish, just below you can see vibration. There is the water below the starfish is showing that vibration, because the tube feet are constantly beating and creating a water current below, and this water current is gathering the food towards the mouth. Okay, all the food is gathered towards the mouth and it is taken. Okay, so that is a speciality of these tube feet, which forms the water vascular system. So, the water vascular system comprises of a number of tube feet which are lining the grooves, and they beat constantly, and the function of these tube feet or the water vascular current or the water vascular system is one, locomotion. Because of the tube feet the starfish moves. Okay, locomotion, then for food gathering as well as for respiration. So, the 3 functions of the water vascular system: 1 for locomotion, 2 for food gathering, and 3 for respiration. And here excretory system is absent. Clear? So, once again talking about its body, there are just 2 surfaces: lower surface or the ventral surface, which bears the mouth; upper surface called the dorsal surface, which bears the anus. Okay, and the mouth, radiating from the mouth are the grooves, and the grooves are lined by tube feet, and the tube feet are not stuck, they are constantly beating one direction, that is, they are creating a water current towards the mouth, and this is called the water vascular system. The function of the water vascular system are 3: 1 for locomotion, to move, the starfish moves like this, stiffly it moves, okay, because the tube feet is moving; 2 for gathering food, and 3 for respiration. Excretion is absent, the excretory system is absent. Okay, so last I am dealing with the level of organization. Level of organization, this is also possessing the organ system level of organization. So, let us analyze all those systems. Digestive system complete. So, I told you about the mouth and the anus. So, 2 openings. Complete digestive system. Excretory system is absent. E stands for excretion. Excretory system is absent. Circulation open. Respiration is done by the water vascular system. Now, reproduction, external fertilization. It's easy. Once it's external fertilization, the development will be indirect. And remember, these are also unisexual forms. That is, sexes are separate. So, these are all the salient features of phylum Arthropoda. So, phylum Arthropoda, a recap, they are called so because they are spiny body due to the presence of calcareous ossicles, and also they have a speciality or unique features that they have the water vascular system. The function of the water vascular system is for locomotion, for food gathering, and for respiration. Now, talking about the body has 2 surfaces, upper surface and lower surface. The lower surface bears the mouth and the upper surface bears the anus. Now, talking about the lower surface, from the mouth are radiating some canals or grooves, and these grooves are lined by tube feet, and the tube feet are constantly beating, and I told you about this creates the water vascular system, and I told you already the function of this water vascular system. Now, this phylum AquinoDermata shows the level of organization, organ system. So, we are analyzing the different systems. Digestive system is complete with 2 openings, mouth and anus. Excretory system is absent. Circulatory system is open. Then respiration is by the water vascular system. And lastly, talking about the reproduction, external fertilization, indirect development, and the sexes are separate. Next, the last phylum, phylum Hemichordata. Now, the distinct feature of this particular phylum is these are worm-like. The body is worm-like. And if they're worm-like, they should either be inside our body or inside the body of any animals, or they should be on the earth like in earthworm. But these are found in the marine environment. So, these are marine worm-like organism, and there was a disputed, Hemichordata had a disputed position. Some taxonomists placed it under non-chordates, some placed it under chordates. Earlier it was placed under chordates, now it is finalized, it is placed under non-chordates just because it lacks a notochord. So, it had a very disputed position. So, the distinct feature of Hemichordates is their worm-like marine forms. Okay. Now, coming to the body. Very clearly, I will indicate the body in this picture. The body has three parts. See, very clearly you can see three parts. The upper or the anterior called the proboscis. See, this is the proboscis, like a cone-like structure. Then the second part, which is shown in orange color, is called the collar. And the remaining, like a worm, the worm part is called the trunk. So, the three parts are anterior proboscis followed by the collar and then the trunk. Now, the trunk bears a number of slits called the gills. See, here you can see gills. If I give it in darker shade, you can see the gills. See, continuously you can see lots of gills. Throughout there are gills. Clear? So, these are the parts of the body. So, I am showing the body has three parts: proboscis, collar and trunk. Trunk bearing a number of gill slits. Okay. Now, the level of organization, definitely it is coming towards the ending. So, definitely it will have the same level of organization, that is organ system. So, let us analyze the different systems. I have given the short form D, E, C, R and R. D, digestive system, excretory system, circulatory system, respiratory and reproductive system. Digestive system, definitely it is having a complete digestive system with mouth and the anus, two openings. Then excretion is by that anterior proboscis. See, we saw the upper part, that cone shaped part is dealing with excretion. Circulation, open type of circulatory system. Respiration is by the gills. Now, reproduction. Reproduction, external fertilization. Definitely, if it is external fertilization, the development is indirect development. And lastly, these are also unisexual. So, in today's video, what and all I dealt were all unisexual forms, separate, the sexes are separate. So, once again, a recap of this phylum Hemichordata. From the name itself, you can understand partly like a chordate. But now it is finalized, there is no dispute in its position, it is placed now under non-chordate. So, talking about the distinct feature of phylum Hemichordata, the body is worm-like and these are marine forms. Then the body is divided into proboscis, collar and trunk. The trunk bears a number of gills. The level of organization is the organ system. So, analyzing the different system, digestive system is complete with mouth and the anus. Here we have the mouth and the proboscis, mouth here and anus here. So, definitely it has a complete digestive system. Excretion is done by the proboscis, the circulatory system is open, respiration is undertaken by the gills and lastly reproduction, fertilization is external, development is indirect and these have the sexes separate. So, they are unisexual forms. Clear? And do not forget, our third feature should be the fundamental features. You have to gather it or get it from the flow chart of the video number 1. So, many things you will get from this. Okay. So, I hope today's slot is clear, where I have emphasized mainly on the distinct features as well as the salient features of each phylum. Thank you.